Like psychology is a study of the human mind and behavior. So that's what psychology is. And then therapy is usually the process, the treatment that is called therapy. Well, thanks for tuning in into Giving Spring Podcast. We are here to give you powerful conversations and practical topics that we can use right away.
A big shout out to Giving Spring Foundation and its founders for making this podcast possible.
Now it's your turn. Hit that subscribe button and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Let's keep the momentum going. And welcome back, everyone. Hi, welcome to the Giving Spring Podcast. And we are so excited today with what we have to speak about today. You know, we were just having a moment where we were just talking about our days and our lives. And we are at a point where we are going through an application season. And we realized that, you know, studying psychology is not something that we always speak about and how the process goes about. And we wanted to speak about that today. We wanted to speak about what it looks like to apply for undergrad, for postgrad, and as well as masters, according to our knowledge, obviously. As we said, we've only done our undergrads, but we are in the process of also doing our postgrad. And we want to take you on that journey with us, and maybe don't feel shy. Also comment on your experience, but I hope you enjoy. Yeah.
So this is going to be like a continuation from our last podcast that we had with our shout out to Carrie, who was also a student. So we're just going to dive into, like Sibukazi said, our application process. And for those who probably went to different universities and who knows or has their own experience of how that went, also just, you know, add your experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sibukazi,
yes.
How was it like applying for your undergrad? How did you know that, like, you know, after you made the decision to study psychology, how did you select the school?
Okay, so for me, I started in high school, to be quite honest. So I had known that I wanted to study psychology. Mm-hmm. Where was I going to study it? I wasn't really sure. I had the options of, you know, the normal public universities like University of Pretoria, Wits, UJ, all of them. And then due to circumstances when I came back from my mission, I decided to not yet apply. But then in the middle of the year, I needed a school that I wanted to go to immediately. Mm-hmm. So that's how I got to pick Eduvas. And I picked Eduvas and I went through my application. I gave them a call and I was like, hey, I'm interested in applying. And they were more than happy to take me. And I started my studying in October. So, yeah, like right in the middle of the year, I started my studies in October.
I didn't know you could do that.
So for us in Eduvas, we are divided into like 4 blocks. Mm-hmm. So block 1 obviously is the beginning of the year. And then there's like how you guys have semesters, but within your semesters there's blocks.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like terms.
So for us, they take intakes between those blocks as well. So me, I was in the 3rd intake, which was October.
Okay.
So the rest of the year. So in actual fact, by the end of October, I'd be a graduate.
Yay, finally.
Yeah.
No, I think for me, I think for me, even when I was in high school, it's kind of like preset or like predetermined that I'm already going to Northwest University, mainly because both of my parents worked there. So there wasn't a lot of like process that had to be done because like my parents took care of everything. I didn't even know what the application would look like. I just know like I got my acceptance letter and you know I was like ready to go.
Lucky.
Yeah. And then that's how I got into psychology because I always knew I was going to study psychology. But one thing I didn't do was like enough research to like check the psychology programs at Northwest University. Because the ones that I knew that had like psychology and IT, psychology and sociology, or psychology and social work, it was like psychology was something. And so I was like, I do not want to do that. I just wanted like bachelor's degree in psychology and that was it. But then I couldn't find that specifically at NW, so then I just applied for international organizational psychology and I got in.
Okay, no, that's nice. So you did industrial psychology, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I did psychology and human resources. So it's
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
double major. Yeah, that's what I'm
For me
doing.
also, my full title is like bachelor's degree in industrial psychology, industrial and organizational psychology with labor relations management.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
very long title.
It
my word.
is. Okay, but then take me through it. Like, I'm trying to understand how many majors are there.
Yeah, so because it was a 3-year degree, I'd say psychology only came in like my 3rd year, which like sucked a little. Because like when you start studying, it's like introduction to industrial and organizational psychology.
okay.
And then you have like your sociology, you have your philosophy module. That was also, I think, 3rd year. And then you have like with labor relations. So you had labor relations management, all 3. Then I had business management in my 1st year as well.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of both, which I didn't mind because I had business studies in high school. So I was familiar with it. I didn't mind. It wasn't anything new to me. I enjoyed statistics, which was kind of surprising because I don't like
Very
math.
surprising.
I don't like math.
Gaps.
So I was enjoying statistics because it felt like it was like a lesser version of like the math with geometry and sulfur eights and everything. So yeah, and then I ended up with a distinction in statistics, and I was like, oh my word,
Please,
it's
me.
guys, I think the key is to learn to love what you're doing, like whatever you're learning, and then it makes the process a lot easier. So now for me, I had beef with labor relations management because it was something that I didn't want to study, and then it's something that I had to do because it's like a prerequisite for my degree. And so I was struggling, and let me tell you, it was not easy. But I think just because I was like used to it, it was okay. But then you like get through my records, my academic record, and you see like all of my alarm resumes like 60, 50. Okay, there's one that's like 90 or something, but the rest are all like 60, 50, whatever. And then you get like the psychology, and it's like 80, 75, and like 89, and like, oh my word. Can just clearly see where the interest was.
Yeah. I can relate with that too. So for instance, for me, in my first job, we also did like business management, we did marketing, we did communications. A lot of like human resources info was like pushed, and like a little bit of psychology as well there and there, like introduction to psych, and then as well as like the biggest parts about psychology that we're doing it now as well in my 3rd year. So for instance, like neuropsychology, we're doing all so we're going to be doing neuropsychology. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't started yet, but it looks like it's going to be very exciting, and a lot of things like research based as well. I think that's one thing that I like about Eduvas is that they introduce you to research very early on.
Research methodology.
Yes, research methodology. They do, like, it was very, very early. I was just like, boom, 2nd year already. You have like a mini research paper, and you're just trying to figure out, what does this mean? What does the literature review mean? What does, But then now that I'm doing it, even in my other assessments and assignments, it's flowing. Like, it makes sense. So yeah, I'm looking forward to just seeing more of the psychology unfold this year. Like, it's super exciting. Like human resources, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm okay. Like, I think I have a balance with my work. Like, yes, like I enjoy it a little bit more, and you can tell, but I'm not enjoying human resources. Yeah, like it's not bad. Yeah. I also did have labor relations, and yeah, guys, I don't know, sometimes I feel like there's so much repetition.
It is, but I think that's also what makes it nice.
Yes, it's repetition, and then just a little bit of addition to what you already remember, and like that, and then it builds up to be like this big full-on circle. I'm just like, oh, this is what you were trying to teach me? Okay.
But right now I have like zero memory of like labor relations. No one can ask me anything of what I did in my 1st year, in my 2nd year, in my 3rd year when it comes to labor relations, because I don't know. I was just there.
You were just there.
And now it's like, it's gone. It's out of my memory. Like, out of sight, out of mind. Yeah.
Out of sight, out of mind. Okay. But now let us try to help our friends out there that are trying to maybe apply in a normal public school. What does that application process look like? Do you have any idea?
Yeah. Well, I think because I had a lot of help with both of my parents because they like work at the university.
Yeah.
It was a little different for me, but I'd say just get familiar with like, even if you're like in your last final year of like high school and things, get familiar with like the website of like many different universities: Stellenbosch, Pretoria, University of Pretoria, UJ. But just like, research all of those things, even if it's like January month, maybe in like matric year or something. Just go on all of their websites and then just familiarize yourself with it, and then eventually like see, okay, here's where you have to like apply. This is like the prerequisites that you need, the requirements you need. This is like your APS score, how much you need to get into the module, the faculty or the career of your choice. And yeah, I think that's mainly it. And then I do think there's like a helpline or a customer that can help you with like the applications as well.
Yeah, there usually is. And I like what you mentioned about like your APS score. So meaning that, you need your matric results to look appropriate.
How much was yours for how much was the requirement for Eduvas?
For Eduvas,
psychology?
I think it was like 20.
What?
Yeah, they have a pretty low prerequisite.
Mine was like 32.
20.
Like the minimum.
27.
Okay.
Yeah, 27. Yeah. There. Yeah, I think it was there by that time, and that's not including LO.
Yeah. LO marks does not include, and it's like the 07 that I got in high school.
Girl, you and I both. Everything else was like 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jokes.
Okay, not one.
But
But yeah.
Hey, mathematics. But I'm lying when I say mathematics. I took maths lit. So.
Oh, you lucky fish. Man.
I did the most with what I was given.
I just passed math. I've never been so happy in my life to have like a 45%. Which is so low. It was so low. I was like, I cried when I had to do math.
That's what I didn't want. I didn't want to give myself a 45% when I knew I could have gotten a 90 for maths lit. So that's how I aimed it.
For me, most people...
I'm not saying do what I did, but...
I wouldn't say do what I did either. Because, okay, if you want to, but just like study hard, hey? Because math is no joke. But what I did was, a lot of people told me when I was grade 10, a lot of people told me choose pure math, like straight math, because it will help you get placed in university. So that's what I thought, like that was the best.
I heard
and I don't know if that helped or not. I don't know.
I heard that, but I think I sat on a different spectrum. Either regardless, there's also the option of maths lit. But then when you go to maths lit, you can't go with a 60% maths lit. It's not good enough at all. You have to pick up your socks when it comes to maths lit. Like for sure. And which is very possible. Very, very possible. So if you do maths lit, don't aim low. Don't.
Okay, but so far, what has been like some of the modules that you felt like you learned the most from?
Oh,
now studying and knowing like you have 2 years. Human development. Like it is, I found it very incredible to see like how literally from birth, I think even when we spoke before birth, like when a child is still an infant and still like how all of everything like your life plays a huge role, and how each step is like important.
Yeah, each step is important, like, and how you're going to grow up as a person in terms. I don't want to label it as success, but be an emotionally and physically healthy and capable person. And like I loved how we spoke and we learned about like past traumas and like how important it is to have the mother's connection and the roles of the environment and changes of the environment. Like why do people even have tough times with certain situations? Like how us as humans, we actually despise change. Like change is not our strong point whatsoever.
That's so true.
Yeah. So because of how much we don't cope well with change, we need to know what change has occurred for us to try to adapt to that change and find a new adaptation and normality within that sector. So in every stages of our life, like today I'm 1 year old, tomorrow I'm 2 years old. There's change, growth, da 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 da. So I really like that. Human development, A and P, 8. It did.
Yo, I mean, I do love human development, but I think there was like a lot of work there that I didn't like. There's like a lot of work to cover.
Yes.
And I think I can barely remember like a few because I think I mostly focus on like the adolescent part and like growing up and like how all of that plays a role. But I like how you mentioned that. For me, I'd say my favorite module that I've learned a lot from would be psychotherapy. But
That's
psychopathology. Nice. Sorry. But yeah, I forgot the name of the module.
Maybe share with me what happened in that module because our modules are named differently.
Yeah. Because yours is like human development. And I was like, human development, we never did that. And when you brought it up, and I was like, actually, we did. Yes. I was child development was one, and then it was adolescent, like adult development.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for us, it's human development. So they took the child development, and then as well as the adolescence development, and then they mixed it up into one big human development.
Oh, nice.
And split it into A and
So
B.
for us, for psychopathology, I don't know which one. I'll remember and see like in comment down below which one the full name of the module is. But it's basically focused on like the DSM-5, like how to diagnose people.
Yes.
So that was my favorite one, and then also the other one it wasn't counseling. I don't know what psychology it was. Kind of introduction. It wasn't an introduction because it was like my third year module. But it was basically where the textbook was the skilled helper. Okay. Basically how to like the counseling therapeutic process, how it works, and like how you can start off with your client and maybe we'll do it in like your next semester.
Maybe.
But it was so nice, and my lecturer was even better.
Was they ever like practical in class?
There was. That's what I loved because there was like we had this one day where we had to do like role playing.
Yes.
So because like 200, 300 Northwest University, I don't know about other universities, it wasn't like a practical role play. So they kind of like took it row by row where you had to like group yourself in like 3, and then one had to be a client, one had to be like a listener, observer, and then one had to be like kind of like client, therapist, and then observer.
Okay.
Like that. So I learned a lot from that, and I enjoyed that role play so much because it was just like kind of like having to share like your own personal experience or an experience that you feel can help shape like your classmates. And like because you're 200, 300, you almost like never speak to each other. So I think it got us like an opportunity to like just get to know one another, but then also to experience what it could look like in like a therapeutic setting.
Oh my gosh. That's so nice.
But I enjoyed the diagnosis much more because I was like, oh my word, like especially when the case studies came, you could see, okay, this one has MDD, this one has schizophrenia, this has schizoid, this one has like bipolar 1, bipolar 2. Yeah. Like it was just like all over the place, and I loved it so much because it just gave you that feel of like this is exactly what you're gonna do.
Right.
And then it's like knowing that you can do this for like the rest of your life.
Man, that is incredible. I'm looking forward to that. Like I've dabbled a little bit on like the DSM-5, and like it's nice. I think we were talking mostly about like the positive psychology and how one can like use methods and how to like better influence their lives, like the breathing and what do you do when you have anxiety, depression. Like that one is like the biggest topic. I think it's forever pressed. Anxiety and depression, and depression.
Like, there's so much other, like, I generally thought that, like, that was the most, like, focused ones. But then I'm like, there's so much other disorders and things that mental illnesses that people suffer from that's not spoken of, like, a lot as, like, anxiety and depression. But,
Yeah. Man. And one thing that I remember, like, somebody shared with me when they were, like, I think applying for their masters is to also check yourself in for therapy. I think it gives you an understanding of what it looks like to be the client and see an actual psychologist in action
That was actually my reason for studying psychology.
because of
Because I
your
had
therapist.
Yeah,
See?
she was amazing. Well, she wasn't really a therapist, but like yeah, she helped a lot, and she was just so fun. Like I don't know, I enjoyed it a lot, and I know a lot of people don't enjoy therapy, but yeah.
I think it's because you need the right one. You need a pair. And that's why there's more psychologists that are needed out in South Africa so that we can pair up with our people.
Truly, but the process is so difficult, man.
I can
mean,
imagine.
It's like I think in order to consider yourself as a registered psychologist or something, you have to have like 200 or 300 hours of work or
Yeah.
something, and it's like volunteer, and it's like where do you volunteer? And the only thing I know is like SADAG, which is in Joburg, which is very far from Porch, and it's like you have to like relocate that side in order to like gain experience. I just feel like there's not a lot of volunteering options or experience like for people studying psychology mainly. I think also other modules, even if like being a doctor or like a pharmacist or something, there's not much practical experience, especially at undergraduate level.
I remember I mentioned this issue as well to my lecturer. I was like, my lecturer, dude, there's not a lot of opportunities for us to volunteer and be out there and be hands-on in the space, because you can't be hands-on without like being without having your masters or something that's like deems you as competent. So he did say, sometimes we overly think this whole volunteering thing. You can volunteer in small and simple ways. It doesn't have to be literally having another psychologist or a senior psychologist looking over you all the time. Like, small and simple things also count as volunteering. Like being there maybe for an orphanage, playing with kids. Like, we're not saying go do a whole counseling with the orphanage, no. But being there, being around people is very, very important, because that's the sector that we are we are in. So like, yeah.
So I heard you talking about, therapy and psychology. It took me a while to ask this question, but then I'm going to ask it either way. So I was once asked, what's the difference between a therapist and a psychology? As someone who never, studied anything close to that, I didn't know how to answer, but then I had to freestyle. I don't even remember what I said. I don't remember even what I said. So can you maybe, clarify what's the difference between the two?
Okay, so maybe let's start with psychology. Like, what's the definition of psychology? Like, psychology is a study of the human mind and behavior. So that's what psychology is. And then therapy is usually the process, the treatment that is called therapy.
Yeah, kind of like the process of like the psychologist and the client together is called like a therapeutic process. But yeah, I get different types of therapy as well. So, but I think specifically when it's relating to like the context of psychology, then it would mean like it's basically like psychology or psychologist is who you are, whereas therapy is what you're doing.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
It does make sense.
But now I have another question. And then counseling is a type of therapy?
Yes. So you have counseling, counseling psychology, counseling therapy. I think it's the same thing. I'm not sure. But then you have like different psychologists as well. And you have like industrial organizational psychologists. You have counseling. You have clinical,
educational, research,
sports.
I didn't know about the sports one. I only found out recently. I was like, what?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
So that means even if you have to go and study maybe, at tertiary level, you have to specify whether you're studying a therapy or, studying a psychology course. Or
not
whatever.
Necessarily, because I think therapy is included in like whatever psychology you're doing, because it's necessary. It's like a therapeutic process.
Yeah.
Whichever you are doing, whatever psychology, like whichever type of psychologist you want to become, you need to know what a therapeutic process looks like.
Is it safe to say a therapist is a psychologist?
Yes, it's another word, like synonym.
Okay. Okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
It does make sense. Okay.
Okay, that's
That
great.
was a good question.
Yeah, it was. Sometimes we think Tabo's not paying attention, but
No, really.
clearly he is.
Like, but yeah, no. What about like? I think let's dive into a little bit of postgrad. We did a little bit of undergrad. Let's dive into postgrad and what that looks like. Knowing that we have to like volunteer and like there's so many things you have to do before you can become a licensed psychology. The
Yes.
psychologist exam is like a
Yes.
exam you need to take before you get licensed.
Yeah, I like what you said before though about like there's different kinds of psychologists, right? So I think of a psychometric psychologist. So for them, they study about their undergrad and then they have like another 18 months, which also includes their practical work on how to assess and do assessments, psychometric tests, you know,
I
to
love taking
people.
those.
Right? They look so cool.
Did you do it like? Do you also do that like in the undergrad? We had to like come up with your own psychometric test.
No.
Oh, we did that.
Show off.
It was so difficult because like, what are the questions you're gonna ask? But yeah.
Right? Well, like the most questions I think, it's always questionnaires though. But I can't wait for something like that. It's like more practical like that, I hope. But yeah, as I was doing my research in SACAP, they have that psychometric course. So where 18 months, you'll also be in like the workspace and practicing under a psychologist. And then after that, you get to write your board exam of being a psychometric psychologist. So yeah, I thought that was very, very interesting. So you go into that specific one into that sector. But then like for a clinical psychologist, you still need to go do your honors, your masters for another 2 years,
And
volunteer, and
if you want to do
Yeah.
PhD. But for me, I want to be Dr. Kruger. So like, you know,
I
need
can
to get
already
that-
hear it.
No, and
I
it
can
sounds
hear
so good. It does. But yeah,
Dr.
so-
Kruger, how are you doing today?
Well, you know. So yeah, those are the goals, Shane. But the process,
But I believe it's
very
worth
long.
it.
it is.
And a lot of support. If we have our family supporting us and our friends supporting us and even ourselves supporting ourselves, we can, anything is possible. We can reach to those 7 years of studies.
And actually, they low key, like what I've noticed, especially like now that we have like a lot of social media, like, you know, technology is such a huge part of like modern society. There's so many different ways to get like access to these things. Like there's so many, you know, webinars that you can watch, live webinars you can join. There's so many sites now that's like available, especially here in South Africa. I don't know like most of them. You can see if we can comment them in the like include them in the description now.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, but there's so many of them that's like now available for us, like people that are studying in psychology. You just have to really do like research in order to get to them because it's like
Yeah, I have two. My favorite two. There's Cognition and Co. Like that website, like I don't know, I love it. It's like such a great platform
as in
to
South
play.
Africa.
Yeah, it's we can just whip it up on your phone right now, right? It's Cognition and Co. It's founded by this guy, I forgot his name, but like it's a whole website about psychology. What steps do you do? How do you go about it? And then there's also another, I want to call it group. It's called Papano. Papano is really cool. Like they have really
I think I
educational.
heard about this one.
Yeah, they have like educational psychology videos on TikTok, like how to get in, what to expect, what is the salary, all those stuff. Like I love those two, and I learn a lot from those two.
Okay.
So yeah, please go check it out. I think it'll also give more of an aspect of what you do when applying for whatever you want to apply for. Now back to honors.
Back to honors. Your honors applications are so difficult. Or not difficult, but there is also like a process. So with undergrad, all you do is you like go on the website, school website, whatever, you apply, fill in your information,
Yeah.
whatever you want to apply for, and then you have to submit your matric results, your grade 12. But then when it comes to your honors, there's a three stages that take place. So first stage is obviously how well you did in your undergrad. So if you have achieved, I think it's 65 and above
Yeah.
for all of your psychology modules, then you would have passed the first round. But please note, it's very competitive. Psychology is a very competitive program in South Africa, especially. So they're looking for ones that are like 89, 90, like middle to your average. And then you have your, that's stage 1. If you pass stage 1, nice. Then you go to stage 2. Stage 2, I think they ask you to write like a paper.
I think it's different in universities, like the selection process.
Yeah.
Others ask for an interview, others
No,
ask...
the interview is the third stage. That's what I know of. So
I'm not sure what the second stage is.
yeah, the ones that I know, especially I think Northwest University, I'm not sure about like UJ Wits. I haven't done research on that one yet, but I do think they do also have like a paper or something that's included. So they kind of like give you an assignment and like maybe you have to complete it within a week or two, or even a few hours. I don't know. It depends on the university and like their requirements. But yeah, they give you a topic, you have to fill it in, like complete it, whatever, and then you move on to phase 3. After phase 3, that is now your interview. They interview you for, I don't know, maybe to get into the program. And then afterwards, then you're good to go for honors.
I like that.
Yeah. I'm
Wow.
nervous about that. I'm like, what questions do they ask in the interview?
I don't know.
But yeah.
Like, I don't know. It would be so nice to have like a university recruiter and be like, what do you guys want? What are you looking for when you say you're looking
Please
for?
help us so that we know exactly where we can improve on, especially.
Yeah. Because as said, psychology is one of those very saturated sectors. Like everyone wants to become a psychologist, but the journey to it is very difficult. And I think we also don't enjoy sharing our failures at times, so you wouldn't find a lot of people speaking out of maybe their journey of how it went.
True.
So but like honors sounds interesting and exciting. And I remember when I was trying to apply, there was a part that mentioned about a research topic. Like I assume they also want us to get our brains moving and possible research proposals that you could use.
Yeah, because like honors and masters is mostly like your thesis. Your thesis, so that's like a lot of research. So you need to like know where to look for research proposals, how one should be written, and like all of those things. It's crazy work.
So yeah, keep that in mind as well. And volunteering.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there anything else that we're missing? What else do you need to apply?
I don't know if there's anything, not that I can think of from the top of my head.
Same. But do feel free to go onto the websites and do your own research. This is like literally from the top of our heads.
I'd say if you're someone in South Africa and you're very interested in psychology, you have to do your own research and make sure you know exactly where you wanna, which path you wanna go through. Because psychology is very broad, and so you need to, I think by your time that you're doing your honors, I don't know, you have to make sure you know which line of work within psychology do you wanna.
No, that's a good one. Especially now because you have the options on which masters do you want to pick: research, educational, neuropsychology, clinical psychology. What else did I miss? Counseling,
forensic.
Woo! Like there's a lot of options. But yet again goes back to what we were saying, is it's so saturated and they always want the top students. And not only in marks, I've heard that it becomes a little bit more on, there's more interviews now when it comes to like your master's degree. Apparently that one is very, very
I don't know, now they do interviews for your master's as well.
They do.
How would they do that? Like, oh yeah.
They do. They say master's is actually very, very difficult to get into.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah. So anyone out there studying psychology, stay strong. And comment down your questions below if you have any with regards to psychology, with regards to me, to Mukazi and our own educational journey. Please comment down below anything that you'd like us to like
share more about, answer, if we can answer. We'd be very honest as well. Like, that one,
we're not sure.
but we do our research as well so that we can learn together. Because as much as we're sharing what we know, you guys can also share what you know, and then we learn from each other. That's the whole point of our show, of the podcast. You know, to grow and mentally grow together, and not be alone in this journey that we call life.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for tuning in into Giving Spring Podcast. We are here to give you powerful conversations and practical topics that we can use right away.
A big shout out to Giving Spring Foundation and its founders for making this podcast possible.
Now it's your turn. Hit that subscribe button and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Let's keep the momentum going.